coming out here on a very odd Monday lunch performance slash masterclass. What I want to tell you before we get started is that this guy that's going to come out and play for you, I have known him for a little over 25 years. And then when you see him, you'll go, oh my gosh, you must have known him when he was like 9 years old. And that's correct. I've known him that long. He came to me when we were both living in Atlanta as a drum student at a music store that I used to teach at. And so I've known Kyle not only since he was 9 years old and just a little kid, but I've known him since he didn't even know what drumsticks were, basically. And here we are, fast forward 25 years later. Kyle is one of my most successful students I've ever had, and he is a guy that excelled all the way through high school. He ended up auditioning, getting accepted to Berklee College of Music, one of the few students that actually graduated from Berklee. He then moved to Nashville, Tennessee. He has played with, I can't even begin to tell you how many people he's played with in Nashville. But a couple of the ones right off the top of my head is he's toured with Lindsay Ell and he's performed with Reba McEntire. And then he has also been with Cirque du Soleil for the better part of the last, 3.5 years or so, which includes his time when he was in the group or in the production Song Blazers, which some of you all know Alora Leonard that went here a few years ago. That was the show that she auditioned for and got one of the lead parts in. So in a very unique set of circumstances, I had 2 students in one Cirque du Soleil show. And Kyle came to visit me over this past weekend to do this master class. And let me tell you what he's supposed to be doing here in a few days, but it's not going to happen, and you'll understand why. He's supposed to go finish out a run of dates with Cirque du Soleil with the show Corteo, which he's playing in right now. And if you go to the Corteo website, you'll see they're supposed to be in the Middle East starting this next week. Yeah, so that's not going to happen at the moment. So they're going to wait a few weeks and see what happens and then possibly have him finish up in a couple of other locations later in the spring. So what we're going to do is I'm going to bring Kyle out in a second, going to let him play some, and then I want you guys to be thinking about any type of questions or things you want to ask him. He's a great guy, wonderful musician. Let's hear it for Kyle Edmonston.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'll play a little bit, and then we'll just have a little yap session. Thank you for having me here. Your facilities are amazing. By the way, I need to brag on that for a second. Like, you guys have a gift here with everything I've seen. It is crazy. So thank you guys very much. Oh, okay, here we go. Thank you guys very, very much. That was just a track from the show. It's a lot of fun to do that stuff. Actually, let me grab a seat here so I'm not just kind of standing over you guys. Just a track from the show. And there's a lot of percussion in that show, so I'm kind of jumping between, that's called a darbuka or doumbek, depending on what region you're in. I'm kind of jumping through a lot of different stuff, and there's a lot of different time signatures, and it's cool. It's a very, very cool show. It's a lot of fun to do, and really musically engaging, So, but if I could, I want to just brag on your facilities a little bit more. I don't know, have you guys ever been to like other schools and like seen kind of what other schools have, like their setup, that kind of thing? If you haven't, I would definitely go and see another school, because this is not normal. Like this is like Berkeley level, like recording and kind of rehearsal studios you guys got here. So it's been very, very cool. Your equipment is amazing, and it's cool. So round of applause for faculty and everything. So if you guys have any questions, like I'm pretty open. Like I don't really shy away from any questions or anything. So if you guys got anything you wanted to ask, or I can just like talk about drum concepts if no one has any questions or anything. Going once, going twice. Yes, sir. Great shirt, by the way.
What do you think? When was like a time, I guess, in your career of drumming where you thought that you had hit like a plateau, and you were like, I don't know if I can like advance any more than I have?
Yeah, I mean, certainly like career-wise, like I've never really hit that, because like I'm very interested in all things music. I definitely played for a lot of like really, really cool artists, like really top level stuff. But I tend to try and look for the next thing. I'm always interested in doing other things. So professionally, I don't really feel like I've ever hit a plateau. Playing wise, yes. Like I go through that yearly. I constantly feel like I've hit a limit, and I don't know how I'm gonna just kind of keep progressing, because you kind of, especially if you play the same show over and over again, it can kind of get a little bit stagnant. So I try to keep my head like musically engaged. Like I'm constantly seeking out like new things, and especially if I don't understand something, that'll send me on a totally different route that'll just have me go into like a rabbit hole for months at a time, until like I can really understand, if it's a record, or if I see another drummer doing something that I can't quite do that I really like a lot. That's definitely like where I'll hit a plateau, and then kind of move beyond it. It happens all the time. Yes, I hope that answered your question. Great. Dude, when I tell you I played that record so much when I was a kid, you have no idea. I loved that record. So go ahead. Yeah.
That's a great record.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, what styles or genres of music do you find the most inspiration from, and what styles have you learned the most from on the kit? Like what influences your vocabulary?
Yeah. Other than like I really do try to be like a sponge. Like I can usually find something that I like in whatever I'm listening to. I mean, jazz is kind of my backbone. That's really like the foundation for me. It's what I listen to those records the most for inspiration, mostly. I've been a kind of like a metal rock junkie for years. So kind of those two combinations, which has worked great because it's really popular right now. To kind of combine those two, definitely. I mean, jazz is that's the foundation. And I still call this man Mr. Phil, by the way. It would be very weird for me to say Phil, call him Phil is just weird and bizarre. But when I was headed off to college, I think I still had the email that he sent me of just like the essential jazz records to listen to, and it was just like Art Blakey and Miles and just the classic stuff that you really gotta get in your head to really understand that stuff. So jazz is huge, and I have a whole record list I can give you if you wanted to dive into that. But the main thing for me with jazz is like it teaches you how to really think in systems almost. Really get like form and structure like in your head and be able to weave in and out of odd structures and stuff like that. And it's great for your ears. Really trains everything. So you can really handle most things if you can listen to records like that and understand what's happening and follow along with the solos and the form. It helps with everything else. So yeah, I hope that answered. Yes, sir. Sorry, I'll get to you afterwards. Yeah.
Do you get like stage fright on the big stages?
Always. Every time. Always. But I think once my hand hits the drum, I'm okay. It's the lead up to it. Yeah, I definitely. I mean, especially like, for example, the show I'm on right now. They called me 2 weeks before I was set to. They wanted me out there. Flew out. I got the music maybe the day before. Just sat there on the plane and just making notes and writing things out. And I think it was like 2 or 3 days after I landed in Lisbon, I think was the first shows I did in Portugal. And I was, nervous wreck, just freaking out going on it. But as soon as you sit down and within the first note, it was fine. Yeah, I do. I have like a morning routine that I do. I don't know. I think it helps. Who knows? I leave that for smarter people than me to decide if it actually works or not. But I think it does. But I think if you talk to most really, really great musicians, they'll all say the same thing, that they all still deal with the anxiety and the stage fright from time to time. So, yeah. Yes?
So for a graduating student, what did you have to do to get on tour, and how quickly after you got out of school were you able to get on tour?
Yeah, so I graduated undergrad. I moved straight to Nashville after that, and it took about a year for me. And I worked at a call center when I first moved. I worked a bunch of jobs, but the main one was a call center. I worked like 4 or 5 days a week. It was at T-Mobile, so if you had a problem with your phone, I was the guy you called and kind of screamed at for like 30 minutes. And I was like, sir, you got to pay your bill. I don't know what to tell you. So it took about a year, and I had like a solid group of friends moving to Nashville, but it was all people who had just graduated too, so it was no one really had any major contacts or anything. Everyone was kind of doing the same work. But eventually, a keyboard friend of mine got on with a somewhat touring artist, and I was able to like kind of do that half the time, work at T-Mobile half the time, and eventually she got big enough to where I could just not have to do any T-Mobile at all, and just jumped straight into it, and I haven't had a real job since 2013 or something. So I mean the skills are important. Skills are always going to be important, and the business side is always really, really important, and how you handle things like that. But the biggest thing is going to be your network, just your friends, and especially how you're behaving on the road. Because I talk about this with friends of mine all the time, that I will so much rather go with someone who maybe isn't like as technically put together on the instrument, like can do the job, but isn't like a virtuoso. I will totally go with that if that guy is really, really cool on the road, versus someone who is technically the greatest thing on the planet, but like I can't be in the van with that person for 15 hours, because that's the reality, is like you got to be okay traveling with these people all over the place. And if you two are butting heads, I mean, there's just, there's nothing good that's going to come of that. So if one piece of advice, just be cool when you get out, and just be cool and kind to everyone within reason. Obviously don't be a doormat, but just be kind to everyone. And I think that is going to open up so many doors if you can really take that to heart. Yeah, and obviously have all the other stuff together, the playing and all that, but being really cool to people is going to get you really, really far, I think. So, yeah, I thought I saw another hand. Am I wrong? Oh, okay. Cool. Yes.
Okay, so if, like, now that you already had the experience of, like, moving out of college and going to Nashville, and your experience of trying to get settled in, what would you say is, like, what would be your, like, go-to in terms of, like, where to meet people, you know, how to kind of how to kind of squeeze yourself into these circles without, you know, being overbearing?
Yeah. I mean, I text friends of mine all the time for coffee. Like that's really all it is, man. Is you know, I think this next part I had a problem with this for a long time, and I've kind of gotten a lot better at it. Being like genuinely interested in people, not showing up to a coffee shop and just trying to get something out of this producer or this other guitarist or drummer, like whoever it is, like actually asking this person that you're trying to hang out with about their life. That's infinitely better than just like, here's my business card, call me for work, whatever. Like it's just gonna come off the wrong way, So just hang out with people. There's always jams. Just talk to people at jams, man. That's all you got to do. Like people are not gonna come down with a hammer if you see them play at a jam. You just go up and ask about their life. But again, I am very naturally introverted. I'm not great at that stuff, so it's like an effort for me to do it. So just be really genuine about like asking about how they're playing, like what they like to play, like that kind of thing. Just find out about them, and I think that's gonna get you way farther than here's a business card, call me, whatever. So yeah. Yes.
So how did you discipline yourself? Do you listen to music, say anything that you like the most, and while looking at the music sheets at the same time, or do you practice on your own to improve your techniques, like your basses and your sticks?
So I'm really, really meticulous about my practice. I don't practice like 8 hours a day. I don't think that's necessary because I do think there's a point of like diminishing returns. Like you do something enough, you start making mistakes and you start getting distracted, right? So normally like practice about like an hour to an hour and a half, but it's really, really focused practice, and it's stuff that I don't know how to do. So a big thing for me is like my double bass chops. It's just something I've neglected for a really long time. Like my right foot is great. Combining my left foot and my right foot is like this huge thing that I just haven't paid attention to. So past 2 years, that's all really I've been doing is just focused on like what's happening with the feet and how I can get it cleaner and better. But I think that's a big thing is just focusing on the things you can't do. Which, luckily Mr. Phil kind of instilled this in me a long time ago. Like I'm very musically all over the place. Like I like a lot of different things. So he kind of gave me like this great foundation of understanding Latin and jazz and rock and pop and like all this different stuff. So practicing, that's a big one. Do my feet. I'm really big on transcribing stuff that like I'll be listening to a record and I hear the drummer or the keys player, whatever it is. Here's something that they do that I really, really like a lot. Just make a note, go home, listen to it again. If I need to slow it down, I'll slow it down. Just making sure I write it out. Because what's going to happen, like I listen to that record, I'm not going to remember that tomorrow. And then I'm going to be like, what was that thing that dude played? I can't, where was it? Like, but instead now you have this thing written out. So now you can immediately go and just find it right there and be like, oh yeah, that's right. Okay, he did this, and then cool, got it. So being really focused on your practice, transcribing as much as you can, and I think far more important than those two things is actually listening to records and I mean that like not while you're doing dishes and not while you're driving, like actually sitting down in the bed, on the couch, whatever, putting the headphones on and actually sitting there and listening. So what I talked about earlier with like jazz records, like that was a huge turning point for me. And it really helped my understanding, was actually sitting and making sure I could follow along with the entire record, not just like listening to the head and then kind of drifting off while the solos happen. You know what I mean? So I think if you can do those three things, listening is the biggest one, really meticulous practice, and then transcribing whatever's interesting you. I think your music chops are going to go through the roof, and you'll notice a change like really, really quickly. And I incorporated that like somewhere around like 2012. I started doing that. Just kind of those three things, and it really changed my playing forever after that. So, I think if you can do that, I think that'll help a lot. So, yeah. Yes, sir.
What are some, do you have any healthy habits, whether it be in your practicing, whether it be outside of practicing, that you've adopted that you think has helped really progress you to where you are right now?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, mentioned the meditation before. I think it helps. I'll, again, leave it for smarter people than me to decide. Go to therapy. Highly recommend that. Helped a decade ago. Really, really helped. And please, go talk to someone. So, if you're having problems or something, it was a massive help. I run a lot. I discovered it somewhere like kind of same era I was talking to him about, 2012, 2013. Running helped me a lot. That's I can kind of turn everything off. Just can't really focus on anything other than move the feet forward. So running helped a lot. As far as like I need to cut back on the caffeine. I'm definitely like a caffeine addict, so I won't really claim to be great about that. But yeah, I think between those two things, meditation, the running, really having like a really good friend group has really helped. I only really kind of appreciated that somewhere around like 2020 was when I really started to appreciate like how good my whole friend group was. I think those things are really going to help a lot, and just try to take care of this. You don't have to be perfect about it, but just at least try. And I think you'll be fine. Yeah.
Hey, Kyle.
Yes, sir.
Something that I would like for you to address, and you just started hinting on it right there, was at 2020. Well, one of the things that I want everybody to know is I saw Kyle with Lindsay, that was in the fall of 2019, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
yep.
Okay. At like a big outdoor amphitheater type thing, and then the world shut down a few months later. Kyle, can you talk to everybody about resilience, about being in this business, and then the discipline and resilience it took for you when everything shut down to decide to go back to go to graduate school? Talk about how that.
So 2020 happens, everything shuts down. All of my friends, we all lose our gigs, everything. And I had some things in my playing that I'd wanted to address for a while. So I went back to grad school and I went to GSU, Georgia State, and got a master's degree. There's a really great instructor out there. His name's Robert Boone, and he right now I think he still plays for them. He's out with the Count Basie Orchestra, just like a classic big band. It was I've been playing full time for about 7 years up to that point, and there's there's nothing else I was gonna do. I was not about to go and get a normal job. It just wasn't really an option for me. As far as where the resilience comes from, I mean, you know how much traveling I've had to do, the endless, 10-hour rides, whether it's in like an actual tour bus or a 15-passenger van kind of thing. That kind of thing really, it builds up your tolerance for kind of precarious situations. So it's just experience, just doing it a lot, and not just giving up was never really an option. I've been doing this my whole life. There's nothing else I want to do. I have no interest in working a management job or anything like that. Like all I want to do is just make music with my friends. And I think keeping that in mind is what really kept me calm through 2020 and kept me moving forward, yeah, and I think another aspect of the resilience part is just having like really defined goals. Like what is it that I'm trying to do here? Because I didn't go back to get the graduate degree just for whatever. I had specific things in my playing that I wanted to focus on. And just having those goals in mind and working towards it, knocking it out of the park, that it helps a lot with that resilience aspect. You need a lot of it to make it, survive in this. You need a lot of resilience, because there's going to be, there's a lot of, not a lot, there's ups and there's a lot of downs, and, you can have a whole tour planned for the Middle East, and then it gets yoinked for nothing that's your fault. It's just what happens. So yeah, you could totally stay knocked down, or you can pick yourself up and keep moving. It's kind of up to you. And I've always been the one that's picked myself up and kept moving forward with whatever life kind of throws at me. So yeah, just depends on how much you want it. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes, sir. Again, let's do it.
Do you ever work with your hands or your technique today? And if you do, what do you do? Or what did you used to do that really helped you a lot?
Yeah. So for my hands, I'm pretty on top of like how I move on the set. There's a drummer. He's he's a little bit older at this point. I don't know if he had an influence on you guys now, but his name was Jojo Mayer. He was massive for me when I was just getting out of high school, kind of in undergrad, and he has a whole like DVD series about hand technique and like how the physical movements of your hands. And I can't recommend that stuff enough, because it's like a manual on how your hands move behind the set and how to get around and like things to focus on. So that was huge for me. Like I'm huge on molar technique, molar and kind of like finger movements. I'm really, really huge on that stuff. So yeah, as far as what I'm working on right now, definitely the feet are huge. There's like little things that I'm working on, mainly with like finger movements. There's one called like a valving technique, where instead of like doing this, you're going like this. So you're able to get one stroke with one finger and then another one like that. So you can just kind of move between your two fingers like this, and you can get a lot more speed out of it like that. It's kind of similar to like the push-pull thing that I'm sure a bunch of drummers are familiar with, but this is a game changer for me. So that's a big one right now in both hands, just kind of working on that. So the first stroke gets the first note out of the stick, and then the second note comes out of here. So you just kind of move back and forth, and you eventually can get the other two fingers involved in there. So you just kind of can go like that and get a lot of speed out of the stick that way. And it works great. I don't know if any of you guys listen to like Tony Williams, like I think it's the Second Great Quintet, the Miles. Yeah. There's great records on that, but he does, it's not exactly this, but he incorporates like a whole thing where he'll do a grouping of 3 notes, right? I don't know if you guys can see that. Can you see my hands at all when I do that? Okay, so he goes like this, catches the stick at the end, and then does a push-pull, like that kind of thing. So if you combine the two, like this, you can get like groupings of fives just with your right hand. So when you go to do like, right, so if you start to move really fast, right, then you can get like really, really cool groupings, and you can kind of weave in and out of you know, whatever song you're playing. So yeah, so that it's really more just about like controlling the bounce of the stick, learning the different movements, how to kind of let go of the stick, bring it back, throw it back and forth, kind of thing. It's a lot easier than it sounds, and it's definitely more about like the feeling of the stick rather than like a, you know, super technical like I'm doing this thing and then this thing. It's more about getting that feeling down of kind of throwing the stick, bringing it back, kind of thing. So definitely the Miles second grade quintet. Like there's a record called Four and More that's just unbelievable. Again, really great for your ears. Really, if you can follow that stuff along, like you can pretty much play anything after that. So yeah, I hope that answered. And I have a whole list of stuff I can give you about like hand technique stuff to work on if you really need it. So yeah. Yes. Sorry, I just want to make sure time.
We're starting to run short on time.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so I know the answer to this question
Yeah.
can vary wildly, but in your experience, how much money can a busy touring musician expect to make a year, say on average?
Ooh, good question. Budgets are shrinking. You know, it's very, very dependent on the level of artists that you're playing with. If you're playing with, I'll just use like Instagram follows as an example. If you're playing with someone who has, you know, 500 to 1,000 Instagram follows, like they're just not going to be able to pay you that much. You know, it's going to be anywhere from like 50 to like 125, 150 a gig. If it's, you know, who's a massive artist right now. I don't know what the guys in Jelly Roll are making right now, you know, that band. But they're living comfortably, I would imagine. They can't have that massive production and, you know, not take care of their people, you know. And Cirque is a whole different animal because they're kind of their own thing. I do know, you know, with my contract, like they pay per show, but we have somewhat of like a show guarantee of like, here's how many shows you're going to be playing. So we kind of have like a salary we can project what we're going to make on, and we can kind of, you know, maneuver around that. But I would, you know, like that kind of level, like the A-list level artist or like a Cirque thing or like anything like that, like you're making a pretty average salary, you know, and if you're in a band, if you have like writing credits, you have songwriting credits, like anything like that, then it's a totally different thing. Like that can get you know, that can get really complicated really quickly. Yeah, I would. Should be ideally you should be making like an average salary that most people are making in the country right now. So, yeah. Time? Yeah? Okay. Cool. Guys, thank you. Thank you very much. You all are wonderful. If you want record lists, or you want, I think I said I had a list of, I can't remember what I said with you, but a list of whatever I said about what to work on. Just come catch me. I'll give you whatever I can give you. So thank you guys again. Appreciate you all. Thank you.